Welcome back to the Mindful Melbourne Makeup Podcast. My name is Kath and I'm a knitter, knitwear designer, crocheter and all-around maker living in Melbourne in Australia. This is a series of videos that I'm putting together to track my journey around the Stephen West Westknits MKAL for 2025. So this year the shawl is called Mystery MusiKAL, and I've knit Stephen's mystery shawls the last probably 4 or 5 years, and I've knit a few of the old ones as well, and I really enjoy the process. So I thought I'd put together a series of little videos to kind of track my progress across the 4 weeks. I won't necessarily finish in the 4 weeks. I have a lot going on this year. Now, I did do this last year. I had a series of 4 videos from last year's MKAL that I put up. So that playlist is there if you want to go back and watch last year's shawls while you're knitting on this year's shawl. But I'm very excited about this year's shawl because the theme is around musicals, which is perfect because I had been thinking about my own theme for the mystery knit along for this year. So I tend to pick the colours for my shawl each year based on my own theme, and I come up with a theme based on a movie or a TV show or a musical or something that I've been watching and enjoying that year, so that when I'm knitting on it or when I'm wearing it later on after I finished it, it reminds me of that, that year and what I was doing that year. So my previous themes have been really fun. Lord of the Rings, House of Dragon, Barbie movie. And this year I wanted to go with a Wicked movie theme. So I love the Wicked, the musical, and I really loved the first movie that came out last year, and I'm looking forward to the next movie coming out. And so I really wanted that to be the theme. Also because I really love pinks and greens together, so I thought that would actually be a really great combination for the shawl. So when Stephen West came out with the theme of his shawl being the MusiKAL, Mystery MusiKAL, I thought that was perfect combination. So I'll put a little bit of a photo here of my theme inspiration. I put together a bit of a mood board of the colours and the inspiration pictures that I found that inspired me in terms of my yarn. And then I popped that theme on Instagram and sort of, gave a shout out for which Australian dyes do you think I'd be able to find these colours from? And Susan from Ash and Eve reached out and said, I think I've got the perfect colours for you. And she sent me a few shots of her yarn, and I knew straight away that her yarn would be perfect. So I'll show you the yarn that I bought. So this isn't sponsored. I bought all the stuff myself. I'm very happy to support local dyes, Australian dyes. So these are the colours that I have for my shawl for the Mystery MusiKAL. So it's from Ash and Eve Designs, and I've got 4 colours of her Posh Sock, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon, and it goes with my Wicked theme. So in the pink side of the spectrum, we've got the colour Pink Lemonade. That's this beautiful soft pink colour. Then we have the colour Poisoned Petal. So it's this really beautiful deeper kind of ballet pink, and that's sort of the Glinda or Galinda colours there. And then for the greens, we've got Morning Moss, which is that colour there, and then Briar Grove. And I thought these colours together were absolutely beautiful. So that's my palette there. And of course, a Stephen West MKAL shawl wouldn't be an MKAL experience without a mohair dare, and Stephen has said that there will be mohair dare incorporated into the shawl. Now he did say you could pick one colour or you could have a couple of options. Of course I went with a couple of options because why wouldn't you? So I actually got mohair in the 2 darker colours. So this is the Poison Petal and it's on the mohair silk base, which is 64% mohair and 36% silk. And then in the green, the Briar Grove colourway. So I've got 2 choices for my mohair dare. So however they come up, that's what I'll do. And so here's my full range of yarns. So I've got them. Now it's Wednesday today, so we get the first clue tomorrow. So I feel like I'm not ready, but I am ready. I have my yarn, I have my needles. So I think the pattern says 3.5mm needle. I'll be doing it on a 3.75 because I am a tighter knitter than Stephen West. And I found pink and green stitch stoppers, which I thought were perfect in my little stash. So I've got my needles and I've got my MKAL bag. It's the bag I used almost every year. It's from Cat Stitchery and I thought it was perfect. It's nice. It's a nice pink. Goes with the theme, but it's also really big, so it'll fit all the yarn in there, no trouble. With the shawl, it'll be perfect. So I've got my yarn, I've got my bag, I've got my needles. I think I'm ready to go. So just got to wait for the clue to come out tomorrow and I'll check back in with you as I go along the knitting journey. If you're knitting along, let me know what your colours are in the comments. Or if you're not knitting along, I hope you can live vicariously through these videos and I'll check back in with you later.
Seems like you've been busy since you went away. I'm just flipping through your pictures, I can tell you look more than okay. Think I need help to feel as happy as you. Could you tell me what I'm supposed to do without you? It's like I'm just seeing empty faces staring from across the room, when all I want is to get out of here and back to you. On my way home, I'll stop at your window. I should've known how much it hurts when you still love somebody. When you still love somebody.
I'm staying out on the weekends, I really need something to do. I'm just trying to smile when all I can think of is you. Yeah, I'm just faking.
Hi everyone. I thought I'd check in again. It is Saturday the 4th of October, I think. And so I've been knitting on the Mystery Knit Along shawl since Thursday night. So the clue came out on Thursday night in Australia at around 6:30 p.m, which was weird because there was some sort of countdown to cast on I think the Westknits or Stephen and Penelope website that suggested the clue wasn't going to come out till much later. And so I think everybody was a little bit confused and thought maybe it was going to come out later that night and that in Australia we'd have to start on Friday. But luckily it came out, like the last few years, about dinner time in Australia. So as soon as it came out, I cast on straight away. The video that goes with the clue is more than 3 hours long, which is amazing because the amount of effort and detail that Stephen puts into these videos to help everyone along the way is phenomenal. So it makes, even though the shawl and the pattern are really complex, I think it's really accessible for beginners because of the amount of help you get along the way with the videos. So yeah, so I watched the start of the video, which was really good around colour placement, and then I skipped to the end to see the spoiler. I didn't used to do that. For the first few years I did the MKAL, I tried to keep it kind of spoiler free, but now I skip straight to the end because I feel like I can do a little bit more thinking around colour placement if I at least know for this clue what that little bit looks like. So yeah, skip to the end, had a look. This will be released after Clue 1 is done and Clue 2's out, so I'm not going to be spoiling anything. But yeah, so it's 6 kind of scallop looking shapes, which looks it looked really interesting. So I picked out my color order, and I sort of went with Stephen said that for this week the Clue color A was going to be the hero color, but the color D or C, anyway, I picked it out so that this week the light pink would be my kind of hero color, so that's, or the mid pink, which is sort of so this week is kind of Glinda, and then later on he said one of the colors was going to be the hero, and so I made that color into the sort of darker green, so that's more of a Elphaba vibe. So that each clue, hopefully I get kind of a different vibe from the combination of colors, but we'll see what happens. So I went with the following color order. Let me just get my yarns. Okay, I've reminded myself of my order, and so I have my colors here. So yes, so my color A is my darker pink color. It's not very dark, but it's the darker of the 2 pinks. And this is really the hero color of this clue. So that's my color A. Then my color B is the light green. So that's my color B. Then my color C, which is going to be the hero of one of the clues later on, is this gorgeous green. So that's color C. And then color D is the really light pale pink. That's that color there. So the clue is these 6 scallops, which are all like tiny mini shawls in themselves. So they're sort of crescent shapes, and they're almost like 6 tiny shawls all joined together. So it's modular knitting, which I love, but it does mean 6 of the same things. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit just to keep things interesting. So the mohair dare is very prominent in this clue already. So Stephen was suggesting you throw the mohair dare in a range of different places. So what I'm actually doing with the 6 different scallop shapes, I'm actually going to switch up where I throw in the mohair dare, because it really does actually change the look slightly of the scallops, and I'm going to do it differently so that it doesn't look like 6 of the exact same shape, and I'll show you what I mean. But I just thought knitting 6 of the exact same things all in a really short week is just really boring. I don't want to do that, so I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting by switching things up. So here's where I'm up to with this clue. Let me just, here we go. So I started the clue on Thursday night, and it's now Saturday morning. So here is where I'm up to. So as you can see, I've finished 1 of the scallops, 2 of the scallops, and then I've started the 3rd scallop here. So they're actually going to be in a triangular shape. So there's going to be 1 here, and then 2, 1 on either side here, and then 3 across the top. So yeah, I'm knitting 1, 2, 3, and then I think the other 3 you join on differently. So each of the scallops has a little garter tab with a fun increase at the start. Then there's these really fun welts, which are really easy to knit. They're just stockinette folded over, and then you kind of 3 needle bind off to join the welt. And then there's the option of brioche, or if you are a little bit, you're not sure of brioche, or you don't like doing the brioche, there's a garter stripe option, but I went with the brioche. and then there's another welt, and then there is an eyelet section, and then another welt, and that is each scallop shape. And so I've done, as you can see, I've done them ever so slightly differently, the first two. So I held in the first one, I've held a bright green mohair, which I didn't have in my original yarn selection. But when Stephen showed us his start of his shawl in his video, he held a mohair with his welts, and I thought it looked really nice. So I dug through my stash and I found a green, bright green mohair. So this is from Maximoo yarns. So that's the label there, Maximoo yarns. And this is his silk mohair, and it's in the color chlorophyll. And I thought it actually matched really well with the light green that I've got. So for the first scallop, I held the mohair with the welts, and I also held the pink mohair that I have in the brioche section, because that really, it fluffs up brioche in a really, really nice way. Then in the second section, what I've done is I have not held mohair at all in that section, and so it gives you a slightly different look. You can see the welts look a little bit different, the brioche, the dark green pops a little bit more. And so then I'm going to do it a little bit differently in this one as well. So you actually, I'm going to get a sort of a different look across the 6 scallops in a way that I think will keep it interesting for me to knit and will be interesting to look at. And it's not going to be super cohesive maybe in the way that if you knit them all the same that it would look. But I think with his shawl designs, they're a little bit wild, they're a little bit crazy. So why not try something different? So yeah, so that's where I'm up to. I've made pretty good progress, although each one of these, it seems sort of small, but because I'm doing the brioche and you are modular knitting, so you're sort of picking up along the edge, it is a little bit fiddly, and you can see it's actually on 2 different sets of needles here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna work my way through it. There's some good things to watch on telly this weekend, and it's a lovely day, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack this up. I'm going to go for a walk, have a bit of a break, rest my hands, and then I'm going to sit down. I think I'm going to watch the last episode of Blood of My Blood from Outlander and knit on my 3rd scallop, and we'll see how I go. I will check back in with you later.
What a wasted time. Should have been here on the outside, read the signs. Used to call you mine.
Hello. It is the final check-in for clue 1 of the mystery MKAL, because it is Friday the 10th of October and I've finished clue 1. Yeah. So clue 1 was pretty hectic. It was fine. It was quite complex, modular, lots of fussing about with extra needles and things, but it's finished. And the new clue came out last night, so I'm very excited to dive into that next. But first, I just want to, it's a very exciting day for me because I've released my very first shawl pattern today. So for those of you maybe that if you're not knitting on the Westknits MKAL and you want to knit on a shawl that's maybe a little bit more simple, more relaxing, this is the shawl for you. So it's release day for the Melbourne shawl, which is my pattern. So I just wanted to show you a couple of the samples and also give you a sneaky discount code. So the Melbourne shawl is an asymmetrical garter stitch dream of a shawl. It's very, very fun and relaxing to knit, and see it's got this long tail, so it's an asymmetrical shape which is very, very wearable. So this is the smaller size. It comes in 2 sizes, small and large. So this is the small size. It just wraps around. It stays on because of the asymmetrical size. It stays on really, really well. It's a great size, and it's really, really fun use of a couple of skeins of DK weight. So it's designed for 8 ply or DK weight yarn, and the small size uses 2 skeins, so 1 of each colour, and the large size, which I'll show you, uses 3 skeins, so 2 skeins of one colour and 1 skein of the other colour. So it's a great way to use up those kind of single skeins that are maybe sitting in your stash. So this is the large size, so as you can see it's quite a bit bigger, and it's got that nice long tail on the end. It's very, very relaxing, very rhythmic. There we go. And it's got that really fun transition of colours, so you can really play with your colours, have a really strong contrast or maybe a more fading kind of contrast. And because it's in the DK weight gauge, you can either use DK weight or you can use a combination of yarns to get that gauge. So you could hold a fingering weight with mohair or an alpaca silk, or you can hold DK, or you can hold 2 fingering weight together to get the gauge. So it's a really, really great, easy pattern, great for it knits up really quickly, and it's good for gift knitting as well. So the Melbourne Shawl is out today. If you want to go grab it this weekend, so before midnight on Monday, the 13th of October, if you use this discount code MELBS10, you will get 10% off the pattern to celebrate its launch. So that's my Melbourne Shawl pattern out today. Very exciting. But let's talk about the shawl we're actually here to talk about, which is the Mystery MKAL shawl. So I've got my project in my crystal Cat Stitchery bag, and here is my finished Clue 1. It is pretty out there. It's pretty out there. There's a lot going on, but it's all finished, and it's pretty fun. And I've done something a little bit different with my yarns, just to kind of keep it interesting, because there's nothing worse than if you get bored or stuck in a bit of a rut and you kind of don't want to keep knitting, especially when there's time frames and things. So this is Clue 1. So the yarn I'm using, just as a reminder, is the Ashen Eve Posh Sock in the Wicked theme, and here's all my colours. There they are there. And I'm using a range of mohairs to hold with it. So Clue 1 was essentially 6 scallops. So each of these is a scallop, and they're exactly the same in terms of the pattern, but how you do them is different because it's modular knitting. So you have to pick up stitches along the way. So it's got a little garter section on each, a welt, brioche, or you could do a garter stripe option if you don't like brioche, another welt, an eyelet section, another welt, and then you finish off. And so I did something different in each of my scallops. I did it in a symmetrical is the word I'm looking for. I did it in a symmetrical way, but I shook things up and did things differently. So on the first scallop, I held mohair with the welts, and I thought that looked quite cool. And I also held mohair with the pink in the brioche, so that gives the pink quite a big, fluffy, bold moment. Then in the second scallop, I didn't hold mohair in the welts, and it gives you a bit of a different look. And I held mohair instead. Oh no, I didn't hold any mohair at all in this one. And so I did the same for this one, so that was symmetrical. Then in this one, I didn't hold mohair in the welts, but I did hold mohair in the background colour of the brioche. And as you can see, it gives you a slightly different look, which I think is quite fun. And then for each of the side scallops, I held mohair in the welts, so that makes them a little bit fluffier and bolder. And I didn't hold mohair anywhere else. Oh, and the other place I held mohair up here was in the eyelets, and so it just gives the eyelets a bit more of a fluff. Anyway, very fiddly, very complex. There's some SSSKs in there instead of SSKs, so you have to kind of keep your eye out for those extra slips in the slip knit. And I am not entirely convinced I have exactly the right number of stitches at the end, but that's okay. I can just add in some or take them away as I need them. Very relaxed about that, as Stephen does in his videos. He does say, look, don't worry about it, just add them or take them away as you need. So I think that's good. But I think it looks about right, and it was relatively fun to knit. By the last scallop I was a little bit over doing scallops. And I'm really pleased to see that the next clue looks like it sort of steps away from the modular knitting, which is nice, because for some of this you had to have an extra needle and then be sort of picking stitches up from that extra needle and holding stitches over here, and it became quite a lot. So I think the video was over 3 hours of help, and the clue itself was about 16 pages, which is a lot. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I think the other thing that I noticed with other people's, so we've got a chat group. In the chat, other people have put theirs in, and the colour placement makes a huge difference. Now, in hindsight, if I could choose my colours again, would I hold all of the colours in exactly the same place? Probably not. I actually would be interested in seeing how different it looked if I held the colours in different places. But that's the beauty of a mystery shawl. You don't really know what you're knitting. You don't know what you're going to get. Some bits you're going to like more than others. And I really liked the techniques. I liked the different things that I did. And I'm interested to see what the rest of the shawl looks like. Because as it all comes together, those sections of the shawl that maybe you don't like as much as some of the others, I think it all rounds out at the end, where you just end up with this incredible shawl that maybe if you saw it at the start, you think, I'm not sure I could knit that, or maybe that's a bit complex as to, what I'm interested in. But when you're just doing it along with everybody else and there's the mystery, I think it just makes it fun, and you end up with a really, really interesting, great shawl. So yeah, so there's clue 1 all finished. Clue 2 came out last night. I think the clue, the instructions itself are much shorter, and I think the video is only about 30 or 40 minutes or something. So I think it's a much more straightforward clue. I have had a peek at the end of the video, so I know what it looks like. I'm not going to have any spoilers here, but I'm very much looking forward to this clue. I think it's going to be a little bit more relaxed than this clue. So that will be good. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you follow along for the rest of my shawl. I hope you're enjoying what you're knitting on, and if you're knitting on this shawl, I'd love to see your shawl on Instagram, so send me a DM if you're not in the chat group. Come and join our chat group if you want, it's not too late, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.